Hello there, lovers. This video is called The Truth About My Experience with Birth Control, and much like my other truth about videos. But anyways, fast forward. What's important to mention out of this experience, I ended up having a sexual relationship with my boyfriend at the time, and I was 17. You're doing the math now, that's 4 partners within a year. I was like, bro, I'm done with this. I'm done with interacting with all that, but it's still my experiences and I'm allowed to express them how I want to. And now I'm afraid to tell the story because I want people to come for me. It gets really raw. Essentially, it is an intimate one-on-one conversation between you and I about a really intimate part of my life. And there's 16 years of history for me to share on this particular topic. So this video might be a little long, but before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to my partner on this video, which is Simple Health. Simple Health essentially is an affordable, convenient, as well as accessible way for people to get prescription birth control, as well as home deliveries. Simple Health's product is not so much birth control itself. It really is the hassle-free way in which you can get birth control regardless of your insurance situation, your income level, or your location. In layman's terms, it is online prescriptions matched with free home delivery. Their doctors prescribe over 100 different brands of birth control depending on which one works for you or which one you and the doctor decide will be a best bet for you. They can also prescribe the ring and the patch. Also, if you want to know more about Simple Health right here, right now, you can just go in the info box. But I do hope you stay for the chat because I do think it will be a good one. All right, so where do we start with my journey with birth control? Obviously, we start at the beginning. I first had sex and used nothing. No protection, not from sexually transmitted infections, not from pregnancy. Like a lot of people who don't know they're gonna have sex, I wasn't prepared for the moment. I just found myself in a situation with someone that I was very attracted to. My body had a lot of messages, a lot of urges at that present time. That person felt the exact same way and it just happened. Now, the experience itself, I've detailed before in other videos, was what it was, but the aftermath of using nothing really was what haunted me. I didn't know where to go, what to do. I obviously thought I was pregnant right away. So I spent the next month in complete turmoil, checking my underwear constantly to see if there was going to be blood. And then after I did get my period, I had the still lingering stress of, did I get a sexually transmitted infection from having an unprotected intimate act with someone that I knew relatively nothing about at the time? So after that happened, I wish I could tell you that I got on the pill or I started to really take control of my protection, but I still was that ignorant little girl who had womanly urges. And I remember my mom finding a condom in my room. So I went to some event where they handed them out for free and I took that condom and put it somewhere private. And for whatever reason, my mom went under my bed and she found it and she pulled me aside and was like, why do you have this? And I had to make up some lie about, well, I just got it for free and I have it in case a friend needs it. And so my singular act of, I think, trying to take control of my health and trying to protect myself was heavily discouraged and stigmatized. And so I didn't look at condoms as something I should be keeping on me because the risk of getting in trouble at the time that you're a teenager is actually greater than the risk of everything else that comes with it. So I just kept my entire sex life a secret and birth control was a dead giveaway, so I just didn't really have any part in it. So the next time that I had sex was probably about a year later and it was the exact same thing. It just kind of happened. I was alone with somebody who I was attracted to. We started kissing and then one thing led to the other and then it just occurred. Now, when I was younger, I just really didn't understand why I was doing this, right? I knew unprotected sex was bad. I knew I wasn't supposed to be having sex outside of a relationship. I went to a Catholic school. I knew I was supposed to be having sex, period. But yet I just almost couldn't stop myself in some capacity. And it wasn't until I went to school to study sexology that I truly made peace with that. So when a woman becomes of a certain age, around the 16-year-old mark, your pelvic floor fuses together. And then you start getting this rush of hormones. In essence, your body becomes ready for sex. Just like as a baby at a certain age, we all naturally become ready to walk. Some, of course, deviate from what the norm is. Some people take longer to walk. Some people don't ever walk. But by and large, the average human experience is on a certain biological trajectory. The body is maturing in certain stages. And so at 16, it wasn't that I was a bad person who all of a sudden got these negative ideas and wanted to be a bad person. It was that my body was just ready to start doing that. And I wasn't prepared for that physically, or I wasn't prepared for that emotionally. But that's just why I truly believe young girls should be given the opportunity to go on birth control at that age, just because like there is another factor at play other than just sheer decision making or logic. There is something else, a strong force within you, and so it's just better to be safe. It's whether or not you think you're ready, you're supposed to be ready, your body is, and that might be more of an overwhelming feeling than you're really truly able to handle. So once again, I just had sex with somebody. We actually did use a condom that time. That person had a condom on them, but we didn't use it properly because we had never been given the education on either side how to do so. As a result, we were just like unsure if it worked, unsure how it was supposed to work, and pretty sure that we were pregnant. We had sex, we finished up, we looked at all of the evidence in front of us and thought, I don't think we did this correctly, and then went right to the clinic, which was like walking distance from my house. So I'm actually really grateful for that I knew where the sexual health clinic in my neighborhood was. And we do rock, paper, scissors outside for who should have to go in to get the pill. Like that's just how emotionally immature and unprepared I was at that time to deal with the consequences of being physical with somebody. I lost, so I had to go by myself, and he literally went home. Like I lost, okay, now it's your responsibility. And you know, as a woman in many ways, it truly, the bulk of the responsibility unfortunately does fall on you. So I went and I got the morning after pill. That was the first time that I used that. It wasn't a positive experience for me. I don't remember taking it and thinking, oh, okay, I know I can do this at all times. Thankfully, something happened earlier in my life which provided a lot of help for me. I still struggle with this to this day, but looking back, I've also spoken to a lot of other women who feel the same way. So I had acne. I have had acne since I was 14 years old. I still struggle. And so because I had acne, I got to use birth control as medication for that. So I knew I needed to be on it for personal reasons, but I wasn't yet at the place where I could discuss that with my family. And that was an honest to goodness, like pretty good time in my life. I still wasn't having great sex or great sexual partners. Like that part of things took a very long time for me to truly understand. But being on the pill just provided a peace of mind that just can't put into words. So I was on the pill for a number of years. Once my skin cleared up, I started to become a sexual educator, and during that time, I decided to be celibate for a period. You know, I decided to stop having sex because I wanted to understand what I'd been doing wrong. I became a sex educator as a direct result of my shitty sex life. I was like, okay, I am passionate about this thing and I looked forward to it for a long time, and now that I'm doing it, it sucks. What am I doing wrong? And when I started to learn what I was doing wrong, I became passionate about informing other people of the same. So during that year that I really got started in it, I just wanted to be clear of mind. I didn't want any distractions, and I wanted to, like, the next time I had sex, for it to be positive. So I stopped birth control. And when I finally did get back on the pill again, I was now in a committed relationship. The difficult thing with birth control is that, like, it's a process, right? You have to go to your family doctor, you have to get blood work done. That can take a couple weeks to come back, get your blood pressure, even getting an appointment at my family doctor. Like, I've had the same doctor since I was born. He doesn't like to work that much. He was an older guy, so he was in the office pretty infrequently. Like, he took long ass lunch breaks. Like, it's not like he was there 24/7 like a clinic. So getting an appointment took some time. So it's like, you don't always get the birth control when you need it. One of the downfalls I think of the pill is it can create a sense of false security when it comes to your health. Because you've taken care of the reproductive risks of being sexually active, you can tend to forget about the sexual health side of things. And majority of birth control, aside from a condom, does not cover you when it comes to sexually transmitted infections or diseases. And so you don't get to, like, just let your hair down and blow in the breeze and live your best life, like, void of any other additional protection. Like, you get to be like, phew, there's one half of things taken care of, I still have to be mindful that there's a whole other important half that I also have to be mindful of. So while I was on birth control, I got into a relationship with someone, to be honest with you guys, had a reputation. I was well aware of this individual's reputation, but in my naivety and in my sense of like, I'm different, and because I know they would never try it with me, like in all of those falsehoods, I very shortly after we got, committed, stopped requesting that they use a condom. And so we were just doing the do without a care in the world. Fast forward about 8 months afterwards, I found out that I contracted chlamydia through my monogamous relationship. So that's just, I've obviously told the story at great length before in other videos, but just a reminder that birth control is wonderful at doing what it does, 95 to 100% of the time if used correctly. But that doesn't mean that it's taking care of you 100%. And don't allow yourself to fall into the delusion that you've done all that you have to do. So anyhow, still on birth control, move out to LA now. And when I moved to LA with my ex, we still were doing the whole let's try this thing out dance, but let's not be together thing, but don't see anyone else. It was just that whole confusing foolishness that occurs in manipulative relationships, to be frank about it. So I stopped being sexually active. I stopped having money. More importantly, I was like dead ass broke. I had no insurance, obviously, in America. In Canada, I wasn't under an insurance plan either. And like there's this notion that everything is free in Canada. Yes, if you go to the doctor, you don't pay anything, but if the doctor prescribes you something, there is a price tag that comes with that. So birth control was not free for me, and the kind of birth control I was on wasn't the cheapest of brands. So when I moved to America, I just decided to give that a hiatus, and I wasn't on birth control for like 2 years. I wasn't sexually active. I was sexually active with my ex whenever I went back to Canada. Sometimes he came and visited me. We were better about using condoms at that time because I was fully less delusional. It was almost one of those things where like I completely knew what it was, but I wasn't ready to like remove myself from it. But at least I had the smarts to protect myself in some capacity from it. So when I finally got rid of that, which took me a very long time to get out of the emotional entanglement of that relationship, I knew I was ready for like a fresh start, and I knew I was ready for like a healthy, consenting, awesome relationship that made me feel as incredible as I did. I left that relationship feeling, this is not a video about that, so we'll just skip that part, but I met Jared about a month after like I completely called it quits there, and we just really wanted to engage in a healthy reciprocal sexual relationship. At that time, that was a priority for both of us. We aligned on that. We had incredible physical chemistry, and so I feel really fortunate to have linked up with him at that time. It's so funny because Jared was my first like official friends with benefits. I think in the past I had been in friends with benefits situations that like weren't totally consensual. Like we were friends with benefits, but like I was hoping for more. Or I was in the friends with benefits under the guise that eventually it would develop. When me and Jared connected, we really wanted nothing else. There was really 100% from both angles, like a complete acceptance of like, this is what it is, and we're gonna make it the best that it possibly can be without expecting that to bloom into something more. And so because the sex was so great and the connection was so great, I just also really wanted to get rid of the reproductive stress side of things. Because it was friends with benefits, like that's probably the worst situation in which, in my perspective, I could enter into family planning with somebody. So I did something that I'd wanted to do for a really long time, which was get an IUD. And oh my gosh, I love my IUD. I wear my IUD necklace just in ode to like what a great addition to my life this was, because it just worked with me. I think birth control is a lot like a lot of other things in life, career or romantic partners. Some things just go with you and some things just don't. For a lot of people, the IUD does not go with them, and I'm sure I'll hear all about it in the comment section. But for me, almost as soon as it was placed in, like it was just a godsend to me. Jared and I still use condoms because of the fact, once again, that We were not in a committed relationship, and I had learned from my past mistakes. Also, he is incredible about sexual health. I will say that I've never met a man before who takes their health as seriously as he did. He got checkups once every 3 months. He was really like litigious about checking the condoms and about making sure that we had them. And he also brought a lot of joy to my life with condom use. Like, he would have different kinds and like invest in pleasure packs. And so that was a really cool thing as well too, where sexual health became like a fun addition to our relationship.
For the male, I got a urine and a blood test. Wash your hands with warm water for 30 seconds. Shake hands to get the blood flowing.
We just wash though. We shake. In 2016, I'm on the IUD. I'm with Jared. We are in a really great flow, sexual health. And then for some reason, my acne just starts exploding again. So up until that time, because I'd been on and off the pill for so long, like my acne had become pretty manageable. But with now me being off of it for 2 years and doing nothing, I'm expecting, because I'm in my 30s now, like this is a thing of the past. And then my skin is like, oh, definitely not. So I start breaking out again. Now, mind you, I've had acne since I was 14 years old. That being said, I have done it all. So please, all of the black soaps, all of the dairy-free diets, all of the sugar-free diets, all of the castor oil, the oil pulling, the Differengel, the Accutane, the oatmeal remedies, I have done them all. Apple cider vinegar, tea tree oil, literally nothing has worked for me other than Accutane, which I would never do again. I got great results from it, awesome, but there's just so many potential side effects, and using it a second time, the side effects increase that much more. So that trade-off is not worth it for me. Birth control, on the other hand, that trade-off is worth it for me, and that is what's worked for me every single time. And I actually learned why. I produce a lot of androgens. My body is a little bit more rich with testosterone than the average woman. As a result of that, when I'm on birth control, specifically birth controls that suppress androgens, I don't get the outbreaks in the same way. And so at the time, I was on 2 birth controls. The IUD, which is non-hormonal because I use the Paragard, which is the copper one. And then I was back to being on Siestra, which was the hormonal birth control that allowed my skin to clear up. And that's where I currently am right now. The war against reproductive rights just seems crazy to me, because it's a basic human right to be able to decide and to be able to protect and to treat your body as you see fit, of course, to reflect what you want for your future and to your potential family's future. So I can't imagine why this is a war, but it does exist and we can't ignore that. And I'm always looking for ways to get involved, and I'm grateful to be surrounded by organizations and companies like Simple Health who are doing something about it. And so Simple Health is a really great option for anybody who has never done birth control before, been on it, and wants to find a discreet, hassle-free way to start. Somebody who is off birth control currently but has been on it before but hasn't gotten around to making that doctor's appointment or to going through those extra steps. And finally, if you're on birth control right now and you have a pharmacy, it's all neatly tied up in a bow, if you just want to cut out that extra step of having to drive and pick up your prescription, Simple Health again provides free home delivery, so you can reroute it so that it's just being sent directly to you, again in discreet packaging, right to your home, so you never have those days where you should be on the pill but you're not, because there is that extra barrier between you and your right to decide what happens to your body. And that's what I'm really passionate about, helping people to make the best, most informed decision about their reproductive future, and then finding tools that support that decision. If this seems like the right tool for you, then here's an extra benefit to using it. When you go to simplehealth.com/Shan, you can use a coupon there to get the free annual prescription completely just for people who use that code. So all you have to take care of after you put in that promotional code is the cost of the actual birth control, which again, if you have an insurance provider, is probably free for you. So you don't have the annual fee. You don't have to pay for the prescription if you have insurance. If you do, you just pay that. And then the home delivery is free for everyone. So if that is something that you would consider, go in the info box to learn more about them. And finally, in the comment section below. I would love to hear what has been the truth about your birth control experience. What has been your journey, and where are you currently on that path? You know, what is your system right now? And if you're still figuring it out, let me know how I can help you get to that space of complete joy, because this truly should be a joyful part of our lives, I think.
Yeah, I used to think about you when I had no one to talk to. Hella bougie, kinda moody, bouncing when you walk through. And you